Hello and welcome to West Side Wise Wednesdays, presented to you by Quest Communities and connected to you by AT&T, where we are giving you the news that you can use with the information that you cannot refuse. Let's get into it. All right, Justin, let's talk about the launching of the I Love My ATL Park 30-day challenge. This sounds really, really exciting and really fun, okay? It sounds healthy too, so which is always good. And you're leading the effort, dated for October 17th through November 18th. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we kicked off I Love My ATL Park 30-day challenge on Monday, October 17th, and it runs through November 18th at midnight. So you could, if at 11:59 on the 18th you get in the park, that'll count to your park challenge. But our hope is to get Atlantans to come out to as many parks as possible, right? And as we stated earlier, we know that when people are in our parks, we're having a good time, they're safe, right? And so as we think about the I Love My ATL Park 30-day challenge, the goal is to, again, visit as many parks as you can, bring a ball, have fun in our parks, take a video, take a picture, post it online using Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have all those different social media accounts as a means of just celebrating our ATL parks, right? Yes. They're our parks. Yes. They aren't the department's parks. They aren't the commissioner's parks. They are our parks here in Atlanta. They're for our neighbors, for our visitors, for all of our friends. And we just want to celebrate the parks, celebrate the great things that happen in our parks, and really highlight what that is. So we have a picture frame. We'll be out at many events across Atlanta over the next several weeks and over this month to really celebrate this. I've been to the Beltline. I've been to Shady Valley. I've been to Chastain Park. We've been to Cook Park to do some filming. We're going to hit Underwood Park, Perkinson Park, and many other parks across Atlanta just to bring some positive energy to our ATL parks and really celebrate what they mean to our community. So please join me in I Love My ATL Park 30-day challenge. And we have a leaderboard online, so you can go and see how you're doing compared to your neighbors. And if you visited more parks, so I know in another community I came from, there was this team that produced this book and this picture book of all the different parks. And so our hope is that we can gather all of these pictures and really celebrate the individuality of each park, but also the collective power of our parks and recreation.
Power. I like that word, because I think our parks do have power.
They do.
Power to do a lot of good work. That's a very good word. And I got a question. This is a little bit offshoot, but how many parks do we have in the city? About how many?
We have over 300. Wow. And I think it's a combination of both. We have some very small beauty spots that you may see when you drive around Atlanta, right? You have a very small sign, typically routed wood that maybe has some flowers and has a tree in it. And then you have very large parks like West Side Park, which is our largest park. So we have a lot of different parcels and a lot of different properties that we classify as parks. And so that makes that number really, really large. So.
Absolutely. And it's still access to a green park. A green space.
Yeah.
I kind of combine the words. Yeah. And that access is what you need. If you want a bigger park, of course that is there too, but if you just want to get out, put your feet in some grass, and kind of get some fresh air and see some flowers, 300 parks and or green space that's awesome. But that is part of the calculation of why Atlanta is the number one place to live in, right?
Exactly.
They count that.
Well, and I think on the front page of the article was the Beltline Trail.
There you go.
Right? Another park and green space in partnership with the Atlanta Beltline Initiative, or incorporated in the Atlanta Beltline Partnership. That's a great opportunity. And we know that walking and running are the number one form of physical activity that people like to participate in. And so having an amenity and having a linear trail, having a trail like the Beltline is just a huge asset to our community to be able to get outside, go for a walk, go for a stroll, right? You may be in a wheelchair and you just want to get out and see something different, right?
Absolutely.
And the Beltline provides that for so many people in our community. And we have other trails, Proctor Creek Greenway. My family and I rode that the other day, and it's a beautiful trail. If the Beltline's a little overcrowded for you, I encourage you to go take the MARTA to the Bankhead transit station, and you can get off the train right there and head down and head to the west, and that's the entrance for the Proctor Creek Greenway. You can get on that trail, you can go out for 2.5 miles, and you can visit the West Side Park, all from a trail.
That's awesome.
No road. There's, I think, 1 or 2 street crossings that you have to contend with, but there's rapid flashers to warn cars.
Okay.
But don't go until you see the car stop.
Please.
Please don't
go. Because it's all good in theory, but we need to work in practice.
Exactly.
Okay, the person has to see you.
They have to see you, and they have to stop. They may see you and go right by, but they have to stop.
People are always like, pedestrians have the right of way. Yeah, in theory, but they can't contend with an automobile.
Yeah.
So, yes. Listen to Mark. Sorry, we got people here in the background. They're cracking up at me. Let me stop. So yes, that I like that. That's actually specific to like the West Side as well.
Yeah, and
Bankhead
it's
Station.
such a great trail, right? And you can take transit to it. Right? You don't have to drive. Maybe you live in another part of our community and you want to experience the Park to Creek Greenway.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do it.
Just Bankhead Station, right?
Bankhead Station.
Okay, sounds good. West Side. And let's get into some recreational programming that you guys have going on right now. So I do see Primetime Seniors, and we just we're returning to that in person this fall. Is that correct? And nearly how many participants is that? 800?
Over 800. I mean,
and
this is back up, getting over pre-COVID levels. 800 older adults that are coming out and having a great time. So we have many different activities, and most recently we had some of our we had the Golden Olympics, the Georgia Golden Olympics, in Warner Robin, and many of our participants, Atlantans, got gold, silver, and bronze medals for their participation. And next year.
Wow.
They'll be going to Philadelphia for the national competition. So,
and this is all seniors.
This is all older adults.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
People over 55 who participate in physical activity and many different volleyball, basketball,
That's excellent.
track, field, all those different events. Yeah,
I could never, and I'm only 45.
you
but
can.
I
There's
can
10
start.
years.
Yes,
You have
I
10
can
years
get better,
to train.
right? I
10
can
years to train, Ebony.
That is true. That's a good way of looking at it. It's not too late. I'm just going to start now.
Yeah.
I like that. Also, learning to swim. We have programs for that as well.
Yes, we have programs for our youth as well as adults. I myself took an adult swim lesson, and it was really helpful for me. So you aren't too late to learn how to swim.
I don't know
right?
how to swim.
It's okay.
It's embarrassing.
I sometimes look like a dolphin just flopping around aimlessly in the water, right? And so
better than me.
when I took a swim lesson, it was really helpful for me just to learn how to breathe better, be more efficient with my stroke. And I know a lot of people who've benefited from swim lessons. So, at minimum, let's get all of our kids, by third grade so they know how to swim.
Swimming is a life skill.
It is a life skill, right?
And unfortunately, of course, we all know in the Black community, a lot of people do not know how to swim. Yeah. And for it to be a life skill, I think we're looking at it as a sport or recreation, which of course it is. But if we take it to a more basic mind point and think of it as something that we need to help our children survive, another tool that we need to equip them with, I think that we could get more attention centered on the fact that how important it is to teach our children to swim. I'm taking my 7-year-old to Aqua Tots right now, and that's perfectly fine. He's actually taking pretty good to swimming, but I'm looking for any opportunity to get him in the water outside of that as well. So I'll be looking into that myself.
Yeah, and I think as we bring people to the Chattahoochee River, we also need to make sure that we're providing safety, right?
Yes.
Either life jackets or making sure that people know how to swim. And even when you know how to swim, you still need to wear a life jacket when you're around water because you never know when you're going to hit your head or slip on something, right?
That's true.
So I think it's important that we take water safety very seriously. And swim lessons are one tool, right? Swim lessons, life jackets, and just water awareness. So.
Yep. And one more point about learning to swim. So Hollis has I don't want to call it abandoned, but they haven't been using it probably for decades. It's a whole swimming pool, huge. And the older superintendent, she held one of her meetings there just to kind of draw attention to it. And it's still there. And one of my dream goals is to get that reinvigorated, get it back up and running, and actually have a resource here in the community for Black children to get more access to water right in their own school. I know it will be expensive, but I'm not going to give up on that dream. Okay, so
you shouldn't. And that's something I'm just
huge.
learning about. So, yeah,
it's a huge. It's a pool there. We got to go see it one day.
Let's
get you in
go
the
do a
Hollis.
tour.
Okay, let's do it. Also, the Dolphins swim team.
Yes, so this is something that we brought back this year after COVID. We have a swim team, again, to help those individuals that have moved beyond the basic swim lesson. This is focusing on stroke, competition, another element, an opportunity for young people to engage in a positive sport.
Absolutely. Now, will there be like a little, I don't know what you would call like a graduation from learn to swim to dolphin swim team?
Yes, that's typically how it goes.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. That sounds very interesting. Like I said, my 7-year-old is taking to it. So he may not just need the basic skills. Maybe he could go into something like that at some point. Also, teen youth sports program and after school?
Yes, so we have our teen sports, we have our teen programs that have started when school started, and so we have, they're doing tours. I saw the other day they were going to one of the local colleges and universities to learn more about, what is available to them in Atlanta as well as beyond Atlanta, and so this is a great opportunity for teens to connect. We have a program at Dunbar. We also have a partnership with a music studio a group called Meg, and they come in and they provide recording training. So they could be future podcast hosts. They could be future engineers, like we know Shane, who does a great job editing this podcast.
Absolutely. Hey, Shane.
Thank you, Shane. So they could learn the tricks of the trade and learn how to do this work themselves. They could have a career both in podcasting or radio or the movie industry.
Absolutely.
So that's a partnership that we have with Meg at Dunbar Recreation Center to support our teens.
See, like, I wouldn't imagine in the further stretches of my mind that had anything to do with the Department of Parks and Recreation. So, I mean, this conversation it's overdue. I would have loved to have you in here even earlier, but I'm happy we're bringing this information to the community at this point because this is very awesome information. And some center highlights for the recreation centers in the city. Is it CONE? COAN, yes. CONE Recreation Center is a therapeutic center for students with mild to moderate cognitive disabilities. It offers after-school programming, summer camp, and an on-site sensory room for calming. The center is one of our Atlanta Hawks State Farm Good Neighbor locations. Can you tell us a little bit about the CONE Recreation Center? Yeah,
so it's one of our over 33 recreation centers that we have in the city of Atlanta, and it provides this opportunity for people with disabilities to be able to be in both an inclusive opportunity, right, working with our great staff, our great therapeutic staff that deliver this service. And so we have this new room that's kind of on-site sensory, because as we know, people with autism or other concerns on the spectrum, right, sometimes they need additional support, and that means reducing the sensory intake or enhancing it based on where they're at. And so this sensory room is a great way to help provide this unique experience so young people can feel part of our community.
Absolutely.
Right? So they feel seen, so they feel part of these recreation services, and it's a great partnership with Atlanta Hawks to be able to provide this multi-sensory and inclusion room.
And you said 33 rec centers in the city.
Yes.
So parks and recreation.
Correct.
Again, we kind of sometimes forget that last word. And these recreation centers obviously offer a wealth of resources. And
correct. And they range from, C.T. Martin, which has, basketball, pool, gymnasium, arts and crafts room, weight room, to, one-room centers that have a rental space, right, where you can rent it for a birthday, quinceañera, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, all wedding, all types of events and activities. So it's a wide range of opportunity to participate in Atlanta Parks and Recreation,
which is awesome. We all need that. And coming soon, conversations with the commissioner.
Yes, that's right. Well, here, let me take a drink of water.
Please. Maybe I'll take some too.
But yes, conversations with the commissioner. Our hope here is to create an ongoing dialogue with the community about what's important to them related to parks and recreation spaces. It's one thing for us to work as a department independently and to provide services. It's another thing when community works together. We know that when we work together, we go farther, we get more things done, and it's about building community. And if that's truly what we're about at Parks and Recreation, then we need to hear from community what's on their mind, right? What's important to our neighbors. What would they like to see different about our parks, enhanced in our parks and our recreation services? What are the areas and opportunities for improvement? Maybe they have a skill that they want to teach at one of our recreation centers.
Yep.
Parks and Recreation is an economic opportunity where people can come, share their skills, teach a class, gain some financial benefit for that opportunity, but also give back to the community. It's a place where people can volunteer. It's a place where people can lead activities. So part of our intent here is really to build that bridge so I can hear directly from our neighbors what's on their mind and what they would like to see from their parks and recreation services.
So it's back and forth. Not
exactly.
Just you can receive, you can get.
It's not transactional, right?
Yes.
We just don't want money coming one way.
Absolutely.
It needs to be a give and take. And
which is the best way, for sure.
Exactly.
And Instagram. I know I follow you guys. Is it ATL Parks and Rec? Which one is it on Instagram? I believe it is. ATL Parks and Rec. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. So again, follow the Department of Parks and Recreation. Sorry, on Instagram is at ATL Parks and Rec. ATLPARKSANDREC. And you will find out when those conversations with Commissioner will be starting, okay? Great. And any other updates that you want for Department of Parks and Recreation. All right, Justin, I so appreciate you being here today and having this conversation with us. All right, and you take care. And everybody else listening and watching, y'all stay tuned. We always bringing it. See you next time. Hi, it's Ebony Ford, host of Westside Wise. Access to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet is more important than ever. That's why AT&T is furthering its efforts to help bridge the digital divide by offering new solutions that help households here in Atlanta and beyond stay connected to work, education, healthcare, and more. AT&T has worked to reduce barriers to the cost of home internet service. By combining access from AT&T, which provides low-cost internet service for eligible households, with the Federal Affordable Connectivity Program benefit, eligible households can get free home internet service. I discovered access from AT&T at a time when I had no car, no job, no money, no internet. It was the segue for me to be able to apply for benefits, look for childcare programs, look for jobs, and attend training. It literally was my foundation to be able to get back on my feet. And it all started with access from AT&T. Terms and restrictions apply. Speeds up to 100 megabits per second where available. Learn more at att.com/internet/access.